Greetings, greetings, greetings. Look, the enemy don't like for me to do what I do, but I'm going to keep doing it. And I encourage you to do what you're supposed to do. Let God have the victory through your life, okay? Let him have the victory through your life. That's all I'm going to say. The title of this message is You Were Made for the Flames. I repeat, you were made for the flames. Okay. I'm coming from Daniel chapter 3, verse 22, and I'm going to end up doing a Bible study to go in depth about this. But I was reading, the subtitle was called The Blazing Furnace. I'm going to skip down and go to verse 22 that says, And because the king in his anger had demanded such a hot fire in the furnace, the flames killed the soldiers as they threw 3 men in. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, securely tied, fell into the roaring flames. I'm going to go on down and skip on down to verse 28. It says, Then Nebuchadnezzar said, Praise to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He sent his angel to rescue his servants who trusted in him. They defied the king's command and were willing to die rather than serve or worship any god except their own God. Therefore, I make this decree. If any people, whatever their race or nation or language, speak a word against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they will be torn limb from limb, and their houses will be turned into heaps of rubble. There is no other God who can rescue like this. Now, Nebuchadnezzar wanted these men to bow down and to worship who he worshiped, right? But these men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, look, they believed in their God, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Look, and I want to ask you a question. And so they were thrown in the furnace in the fire because they were genuine and true men. Okay, and when you're genuine and true, you will be tested. Okay, they were threw in. Now the men that threw them in burned up, but they didn't. Nebuchadnezzar realized what king they serve. Their God is true. Even he worshiped their God. I'm asking you today, why don't you serve a God and live for God in front of people who don't live for God so that they will begin to serve your God? The Abba Father, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the mighty counselor, the Prince of Peace, Jehovah Jireh, our provider. That's my word for you today. Be blessed.